Greetings, fellow scribes! Welcome back to the archive. This week's discussion is on Werewolf the Apocalypse. This is the next to last of my planned videos in this series, and I will be focusing on the breeds and the forms that the Garou can take. Of course, in addition to this video, I will have my 2 bonus videos up for this week, either when this is up or shortly thereafter, on the Red Talons and the Glass Walkers. But it's time for us to begin our discussion, so sit back, relax, and enjoy as we talk about Werewolf the Apocalypse. Every Garou is defined by 3 labels: their breed, their auspice, and their tribe. Auspices I covered last week. I'm covering tribes in a separate video series, which means this week I get to talk about breed. And there are 3 breeds for the Garou: Lupus, Metis, and Homid. Homid are those Garou who are born from either 2 human kinfolk or a Garou and a human kinfolk. And they are humans. They're born as humans. They go through their first change between 12 and 18 usually. And they learn to deal with human society. They know about computers. They know how to drive, etc., etc. And that's it. They've got a natural affinity for gifts that focus around either fire or technology or the uncomfortableness in animals that humans generate. The Lupus are the Garou who are born from either 2 wolf kinfolk or a Garou and a wolf kinfolk. And they are wolves. They don't really understand modern society or, well, heck, technology in general. At least when they first come into the world, come into being a Garou. They have this tendency to act, not think through things. And they generally have their first change at about 2 or 3 years old because they're wolves. But what about the Metis? What are the Metis? You've heard me mention them before, either in other videos or in discussion of the litany. The Metis are what happens when 2 Garou break the first rule of the litany. Metis are born from 2 Garou. And Metis births are complicated. First off, you have to understand that the Metis are born in the Garou's war form. And during the last portion of the pregnancy, the mother carrying the Metis has to spend it entirely in the war form. And of course, many a time, Garou don't survive giving birth because the child being born still has their claws. And yeah, there's issues there. And from there, all metas are deformed in some way. It might be a psychological deformity. It might be something simple, like being albino. But more frequently, it's something else. There are those who are born with a club foot, or with misshapen arms. There are those born hairless. There are those born with any conceivable deformity you can think of that's viable. And they're not allowed to hide it. I mean, even if it's something that they could conceal, they're not allowed to. Because they're required to advertise their stigma. They're required to advertise that they are born of the union, the litany-breaking union of two Garou. And every tribe deals with metas differently. I try to talk about that into each of the videos on the tribes. But the general reactions boil down to a small number of set options. Either both the parents are killed and the metis is let to live, because he's not responsible for his parents' actions. Both the parents and the metis are killed, because the parents broke the litany and therefore must die, and the child is an abomination before Gaia. Or everyone's let live, but the parents are extremely heavily censured. Maybe one of them is killed. Maybe they use various punishment rites on them. Or maybe they just go, the shame of the abomination you brought into this world is enough of a punishment. Yeah. Some tribes are dicks. And the problem is, I don't know which of these three options really is the best one. And this is why the various tribes actually all handle it differently. Because they've all reached their own conclusions on how to deal with these. How to deal with the metis and the parents. But you heard me mentioning the war form when I'm talking about the metis. The Garou have 5 forms that they can take. They're sort of on a continuum from human to wolf or wolf to human, depending on what breed you start in. Any Garou except a metis in their breed form does not suffer extra injury from silver. But in any form other than their breed form, silver burns. But we'll talk about that another time. Each of the 5 forms, as I said, is part of a continuum. You start with Hamid, the human form. Hey, look, I'm in Hamid form. It's basically your baseline human. From there is the man-wolf form called Glabro. This form, the Garou picks up about an extra head of height and bulks up. Hair grows more over them. Their ears get slight wolfish points. Their canines become more pronounced. Slight claws start to form on their hands. This form is stronger than human and a little faster and a little tougher, but not much on those regards. This is a good, generally speaking, hybrid form if you're like fighting in a in-tight building or want to be able to use a non-dedicated weapon. A dedicated weapon is one that has a spirit bound with it so that it changes with you. Of course, from Glabro, you come to Krynos. This is the stereotypical in our minds hybrid form of wolf and man. The long, powerful arms, slightly shorter legs, but not grotesquely shorter. Long claws, wolf head. This is stronger, tougher, faster than just about anything that any of the other forms can give. This has functional hands, so it can use weapons in this form. In fact, there are weapon fetishes that Garou will use exclusively in this form. It's physically powerful, slashing claws, vicious bite, and gifts that empower all of these. From Krynos, you start towards the wolf side of the spectrum. And the first step to the wolf side of the spectrum is Hispo. And Hispo is actually only slightly weaker than Krynos, but as tough as Krynos and faster than Krynos. Hispo is the direwolf form. Has a powerful bite. In fact, its bite is powerful enough that the slight weakening overall of the form is made up for in the bite. Mechanically, there's a 1 dot of strength bonus difference between the two forms, but the Hispo in a bite adds 1 die of damage, which damage die is determined by your strength. So, oftentimes, whether someone's going to take Hispo or Krynos is going to be determined more by preference on one hand, but also on if it's something that they can bite. And of course, after Hispo, continuing down, we come to Lupus, your standard wolf. The Lupus is actually more agile, more dexterous than the Hispo. And the Lupus is better at running long distances than the Hispo. And Lupus gets a bigger bonus to perception checks than Hispo. Note, Krynos, Hispo, and Lupus all get bonuses to perception. And, when a Garou changes to any given form, he has to go through all the intermediary forms. Which means if you're changing from Lupus to Hispo, you just have to make one transition. If you're changing from Hamid to Hispo, you have to go through Glabro and Krynos before you get to Hispo. Mechanically, they have set difficulties for each form, and a certain number of successes you have to get on the shape-changing roll. Unless you're going to your breed form. And this is where metas shine. Shifting to your breed form is an automatic instant action. That's your natural form. That's your natural state. So, a human in Lupus can shift back to Hamid instantly. A Metis in any form can instantly shift with no roll needed to Krynos. Which is where the Metis actually get their redeeming value in Garou society. Because if nothing else, they're great for shock troops. They're great for disposable warriors. They can't breed. A Metis cannot have children. Hence the other nickname for them, Mule. But this is really very much what goes on for Garou society regarding to these. Each form has its associations. Each breed have their own ideas around them. Another benefit for the Metis, by the way, is that unlike the Lupus or the Hamid, since Metis are born in their war form, born in Krynos, and they cannot change out of Krynos until they undergo their first change, they have to live among Garou society. And so the Metis understand Garou culture more than the Hamids or the Lupus. But that is all for this week's discussion. If you enjoyed this, please click like and subscribe down below. Please check out my subsequent bonus videos on the tribes as well. And I will see you next week with my regularly scheduled video. And of course, with the bonus tribe videos. But until then, remember, have fun and keep gaming.